Jordan Sichone. Hello, everybody. How are you? Hope you guys are having a great Monday. It's not so great for us because uh, many of you have you've seen my post on our page. Simoson Building has not had power for 3 days. Can you believe this? Saturday, Sunday, and today. I've just been speaking to the electrician a few minutes ago, and he tells me on very good authority that Zesco are on their way to fix the problem. This is what he tells me, and I'm hoping that is the case. Arthur Chinyoya, watching us from Chawama. Please tell me in the comments below if you can hear me clearly, loud and clear. Clinton sort of went ahead of me. You beat me to the chase, Clinton. That's exactly what I was going to ask. And here it is. You've told me that I am loud and clear. I'm very pleased to hear that. Very quickly and incidentally, before I continue, I must tell you exactly where I am because I know some of you are wondering, well, where are you? This is my childhood home. This is where I grew up. I no longer live here. I don't live here. I have my own family, but my mother still lives here. But this home, this is on Manchinchi Road. You guys know Manchinchi Road. It's right behind Manda Hill. And we first moved to this house when I think I was 11 or 12 years old. And I'm 52 years old now. And I have a lot of memories in this home. So this is my childhood home. And the reason I'm here is because I didn't want to drive all the way back to my house to do work and even to come to you. And to be very honest with you, my wife doesn't like it when I do these vlogs from my house. She says our home should be sacred. It shouldn't be exposed to the elements of social media. And that's not to say my wife doesn't support this page. She does. It's just that she prefers that our home be left out of my social media space. So because we had no power at Simoson Building for 3 days, can you believe that? I decided to spend my working hours here. We call this Manchinchi Gardens. It's a family home, but then we turned it into a business. It's a business. My mother lives here, but it's an events place. Many of you have been here, weddings, kitchen parties, and such. You know, it's a very conveniently located spot right behind Manda Hill on Manchinchi Road. Anyway, that's the reason I'm here, and I'm only saying that so that I explain to you why I am here. I know some of you are going to go off and start talking about something else, but and I have to make it clear, I don't live here. Okay, I do not live here. I left this house, ooh, I don't know how many years ago, 25 years ago, something like that, many years ago. So that's the thing. Uh, Here we go. Love with joy, loud and clear. Thank you so much, guys. There's something I'd like to talk to you about, and I've been speaking about this for a while. This is something that oh, and by the way, before I go any further, let me say that my background is well lit, but I'm sitting under a big tree. I'm sitting under this huge tree, and so I'm sitting under a huge shade. Now I've tried to mitigate the the dim, if you will, by bringing a couple of lights. But because I'm so beautifully dark skinned, hello, because I know in my earlier post when I said that, I said no matter how much light I bring, I'm still so dark skinned, which I love my dark skin. I've never wanted to change my dark skin. That's how I was born. and that's how I will die. I love my dark skin. So, but you know, I've tried to be a bit professional about it by bringing some lights. Clearly, it's not helping, but that's fine. Just in case you're wondering, what's the deal with my uh, dark outlook and the lit background? I've tried to mitigate that. It's not working. Anyway, so there's something I'd like to talk to you about that it's been bothering me for quite some time, and I've been speaking about this, and I'm beginning to see it come to fruition. And it's this. Let me break this down for you so that you know exactly what I'm talking about. Lusaka City Council has sold the land at Munyaule Market. Do you know where Munyaule is? It's along Lumumba Road. It's a very, very prime piece of land, Munyaule Market, which is a good thing. Lusaka City Council has sold the land at Munale Market, which is a very good thing because there's a developer coming there to put up some structure or some edifice of some sort. You know, I don't think, and I've been saying it for years, I don't think a piece of land that prime should be given to chaos. I disagree with that. I think that if you're going to trade, why not trade in a structure, in a building, in an edifice, in an area that is planned out? You know, this business of putting shacks in the CBD, I think that really should be a thing of the past. We should move away from that. I think that as much as we can, Lusaka City Council, in my view, have the capacity. Well, what they've done is that they've sold that land to a developer. And I'm confident that the developer they've sold that land to is going to put up something that is befitting, that deserves to be there. But those shacks they have at Munyaule, that's not a good thing. Now, I know that's controversial, but you have to look at it within the proper context. Do you know? Many of you are too young to remember this. The building that we now refer to as City Market used to be exactly like Munyaule. Did you know that? City Market, where City Market sits, which is directly opposite Simoson building, that piece of land used to be exactly the way Munyaule is today. It just had shacks dotted all over the place. And in 1994, 93, 94, the Chiluba government, in collaboration with Zambia National Service and an Israeli company, they came and they cleared that area and they built and they gave us what we now know as City Market. But I must tell you, initially, when they tried to come up with this idea of erecting a proper structure, there was a lot of resistance. The same way there's resistance now. The people that occupied the piece of land that we now know as City Market, in those days, 93, 94, the people that occupied that piece of land were up in arms when the Chiluba government said, they said, no, you can't do that. Where are we going to go? What are we going to do? Well, there's City Market now, today. And that area is better for it. Munyaule is slightly different because my understanding, and of course, I have this on very good authority, I'm absolutely certain that it is the way I'm about to share it with you. My understanding is that that piece of land that we know as Munyaule, and incidentally, Munyaule means claw him in my language. Claw him. Claw him. Scratch him. Actually, no, not scratch, because scratch is like this. Kufuena. That's scratch. But kumunyaula. Ngawamunyaula, when you claw him. Think of Wolverine. Wolverine with the big old, that's Munyaule. That's to claw like that. That's what Munyaule means. And that market, I have it on very good authority or very good information that it has been sold to a developer. Now, here's what I mean when I say that Lusaka City Council has mismanaged the issue of Munale. First of all, when Lusaka City Council built through DMMU, Disaster Mitigation Management Unit, when they built the new Simon Munale market, the idea was to cater for people who possibly were street vendors and also people in the business community. Because let's face it, Simon Munale Market is not just exclusively for street vendors. It's for anyone who's able to do it. When you pass, there's a little gnat or something that's flying all over my face. Anyone that's qualified to apply. Mike, this is driving me nuts, this little gnat. Really? Dino Peter says, Simon, Kunyaula is not to claw. Clawing is too violent. Kumunyala simply means to scratch. Really? I always thought Kumunyala, scratch was ukufuena, kumufuenya. Isn't that kumufuenya, to scratch? And then kunyaula is to claw. That's my understanding. Michael, hello? He said, clawing is kwaula. Kukwaula. Really? Well, you guys know better than me. I always thought, Michael, insect killer. I stand corrected. I stand corrected. If it means, if kumunyala, I always thought kunyaula is to claw. Anyway, the explanation is there for you guys to see. What was I saying? Because when you get to my age, you just forget stuff. Remind me, what was I talking about? Let me know. What was I saying? So basically, here it is. Lusaka City Council, Ministry of Local Government, in conjunction with Disaster Mitigation Management Unit, DMMU, they spend close to $4 million over a space of a little over 3 years to erect the new Simon Munale market. The idea for that market, the original idea, was to decongest our streets and to provide space for our traders, the average trader, so that we no longer have street vending. They built Simon Munale Market. They built BH. This was during the PF. They built these huge, big markets, massive markets. If you've been to BH, you know what I'm talking about. It's such a beautiful market. But our traders prefer to trade on the street, even when the edifices, even when the buildings are there. So the idea behind building Simon Munale Market was to make sure that our traders are not trading in the street. Now, this is what's happened, and I complained about this a few days ago. About a week ago, could be about 10 days ago, correct me if I'm wrong, Lusaka City Council placed an ad in the newspaper. And I want you to follow me very, very closely. Someone's watching us. Carter. Ty D. Souza. Carter's watching us from Scotland. Hello, Scotland. Nice to see you. Nice to have you. Thank you so much. So the market, when it was built, Lusaka City Council placed an ad in the newspaper, and they said, we are now accepting application forms from the general public. If you want a shop, the application fee, which should not be confused with the rentals, this is just the application fee. Lusaka City Council has not talked about the rentals of Simon Moore Market and how much the rentals will be. That so far has not been discussed. Lusaka City Council placed an ad in the paper saying you can apply if you want a shop. The application fee for a shop is 250 kwacha. The application fee for a stand, what they're calling a stand, is 100 kwacha. Okay, so they put this out there, and naturally, because I went to council myself, I went and I saw the process. There were hundreds of people, and people from different walks of life. What I did was, in and around our area, Simoson, Simon Moore Lane, Los Angeles Road, all those ladies that sell shoes, I encouraged them. I said, go to Lusaka City Council, get an application form, apply. Don't go through kadas, middlemen, people that claim to be part of the party. Don't do any of that. Go straight to Lusaka City Council, deal with them one-on-one. Now, the sad thing about our street vendors, in particular, our street vendors on Los Angeles Road, which is now Kalushawadia Road, the sad thing is that 95% of our street vendors already have stands in City Market. It is a fact. Let that sink in for a moment. And this is information you never hear. You never hear this. All you hear in the mainstream media, all you hear is women bemoaning and crying and saying, oh, if you remove me from the street, where am I going to go? How am I going to feed my family? How am I going to? But what they don't show you is that more than 95% of those women who say that, who sell on the street, 95% of them already have stands inside City Market or BH or Soweto. They already have stands. What they do is that they sublet their stands. In a sense, they rent them out to someone else, in many cases foreigners, and then they themselves go out onto the street and they trade on the street. Are you getting that? So it's a case, as we call it here in Zambia, and I always say this, it's a case of double tobela, mate. Double tobela. Uku ulepokesha renti, bantu walikwata ka stand mu City Market, we street vendor. Wapoka renti uku ulepoka, but ukukumbali uletantika mu msebo. Here it is. You are collecting a revenue. You have a revenue stream. And guys, there's nothing wrong with being an entrepreneur. There's nothing wrong with having multiple sources or multiple streams of income. But there's everything wrong when you bend the rules, when you manipulate the rules to benefit yourself, when you come out and say, we don't have anywhere to trade, knowing full well that you have exactly where to trade. You know that you've got to stand in the market, but you knowingly and you deceptively tell these politicians that you've got nowhere to go and that if they remove you from the street, you will be destitute. That's not true. That is simply not true. So here it is. What Lusaka City Council have done is that they placed an ad in the newspapers. Thousands of people went and they flooded Lusaka City Council to get the application forms, to pay the application fees, 254 shop, 100 for stand. Now, this is the debacle. This is the mess. This is the craziness that Lusaka City Council has done. Then they turn around and then they announce that 400 traders from Munyaule market have already been pre-selected to be reallocated from Munyaule to be brought into Simon Mwera market. So here's my question. If you have pre-selected 400 people for Munyaule, why did you open Simon Mwera market for applications to the general public? Why did you open the applications to the general public? Now, some people may argue and say, no, the shops are different from the stands. Well, Lusaka City Council has made it clear. They've made it abundantly clear that the ground floor, if you've been to Simon Mwera Market, you'll know what I'm talking about. If you've never been there, you won't understand what I'm saying. And it's really simple. It's right there on Simon Mwera Lane, on Lumumba Road there, near Simoson Building. If you look at the way the building is designed, there's the ground floor, which originally, interestingly enough, the original plan, the original drawings of Simon Mwera Market, the ground floor was supposed to be parking space. That was the original plan, which I thought was a very good plan, because parking in the CBD is a nightmare. It is an absolute mess. Hello, Mama. Hello. Oh, okay. Ababene. Umfweni mami. Ndeti nko na mention. Please, mama. Bana chiti no problem. Bana chance. Yes. So, what was I saying? Oh, honestly, really, I just lose track. I just, but anyway. So here it is. You have a situation where, I was saying that you can check. Oh, the car park. That's right. The bottom tier, the ground level section of the market was originally designed as a car park, because as you know, parking in the central business district is an absolute nightmare. It's a mess. So the original idea was a good idea, but they did away with that. Lusaka City Council did away with the idea of placing a car park there, and they said, "Well, we don't need a car park. We'll make the bottom floor an area where people can place stands, people can sell vegetables and stuff." That was the original idea. So now Lusaka City Council is saying they're going to take 400 traders from Munyaule and bring them onto the ground floor of Simon Mwera Market, the ground floor that was originally designed as car park space. Oh, bana chance. Okay. Thank you, Mama. Thank you. The ground floor, yes. So the ground floor was originally designed as a car park. They changed that. They said, okay, let's give it to marketeers so that we can turn that area and put stands there. That ground floor is the same ground floor that Lusaka City Council are now telling us that they have already pre-allocated, pre-selected 400 traders from Munyaule, and they're going to bring them to Simon Mwera Lane Market on the ground floor. My question then is this: if that is the case, which it appears to be the case, if that's the case, why did you open why did you tell the public that they can apply for spaces if you have already pre-selected 400 people? That to me doesn't sound right. Now, this is what I mean when I say that Lusaka City Council has mismanaged this whole thing. Number one, you sold the property without informing those traders. And not that you owe it to them, but you should have told them. Now, as far as I'm concerned, as far as I'm concerned, thank you, Mama. Thank you. Thank you. As far as, thank you, Mama. As far as I'm concerned, the selling of that property is a good move because that's a prime piece of land and it should be developed. Okay? Let me throw that up here again. The reason I think it's a good idea for Munyaule, that plot of land, to be sold is that it's a prime piece of land and it should be developed. But what Lusaka City Council should have done was they should have had a plan, a long-term plan, to reallocate these people to a different market that they should have built. Now, here's what's going to happen. The new Simonware market right now has street vendors all around it. 3 months ago, those street vendors were not there. This is particularly along Lumumba Road. The Lumumba Road portion of Simonware market. Initially, there were no street vendors there. The only street vendors we had were the street vendors that were trading on Simonware Lane, which is on the other side of the market. Okay? Because the market has 2 roads that run along it on either side. 2 roads. Okay? There's Simonware Lane, which has always had street vendors, but the portion directly in front of Simonware Lane, Simonware Market, that faces Lumumba Road, that portion didn't always have street vendors. The street vendors that are there now have only recently gotten to that spot. Now, this is what's going to happen. Most of those street vendors who already have stands in City Market, because that's where they came from, the street vendors that are occupying the portion of Lumumba Road facing Simonware Lane on the Lumumba Road side, all of those vendors, every single solitary one of them, already have stands in City Market. They do. They already have stands. Now, what's going to happen is when Lusaka City Council finally selects the people that are going to occupy Simonware Lane Market, when City Council announces the names, the people that are trading along the road, when they hear that they have not been selected, guess what they're going to do? They're going to say, oh, well, you've left us out. We haven't been selected. So I guess we will just continue trading on the street, knowing full well that they actually have stands in City Market. It's a scam. It is a scam. The street vendors are running a scam. A scam against the government, because they know that street vendors can manipulate politicians. When mainstream media covers this issue of street vendors, have you ever noticed and have you ever wondered why that the only people mainstream media covers when it comes to the issue of street vending, they only talk to the street vendors. They never speak to the marketeers. When you put the street vendors' plight front and center, when you get a street vendor on ZNBC saying, if you chase me from the street, what am I going to eat? How am I going to provide for my family? What am I going to do? You're manipulating politicians. You know why? Because the same street vendor that's saying that on ZNBC, that very same one has a stand in the market, but he or she has rented that stand out to someone else. They're getting an income in the form of rent, but they're also making money on the street. That's the hustle. Do you not know that? What, do you want me to spell it out for you? That's the hustle. That's the scam. And they've been doing this scam for years, manipulating politicians for years. My advice to media: go into the markets, speak to the marketeers, so that they can tell you the benefits, the far-reaching benefits of trading in the markets. Markets are not built for us to look at. Markets are not built for us to stare at. Markets are built at tremendous cost to Mr. and Mrs. John Q. taxpayer, tremendous cost to you and I as taxpayers. There it is. Here it is. Simon Lane Market cost a staggering $4 million. $4 million. And you want people to just sit and say, oh, well, the market's there. Thanks for the market, but we're going to trade on the street. No. My challenge is to the mainstream media: stop speaking to the street vendors. Go and speak to the marketeers inside the market, so that the marketeers can tell you the benefits of trading in the markets, the benefits of trading under a secure shelter, the benefits of having access to clean water and toilets, the benefits of having electricity, the benefits of paying rent that goes to the city, and that rent benefits the city in terms of service delivery. That's what we're talking about. And so, in closing, let me just say, Lusaka City Council has dropped the ball once again. Because now you've got the Munale guys that are going to start making noise about how, and they've already started doing it. The Munyaule traders, the Munyaule marketeers have already started making noise about how can you reallocate us? You didn't tell us, you didn't consult us, and out of all of us, you've only selected 400 of us to go into Simon Lane Market. What about the rest of us? All of this, these are self-made problems by the city. And it's not going to end well. It won't. It's a big scam, if you ask me, a big scandal. And my admonition to Honorable Gary Nkombo is Simon Lane Market should be for deserving applicants, regardless of where you're from. But in an effort to decongest the CBD, priority should be given, first of all, to all the street vendors, particularly on the ground floor, because there's enough room in that market to absorb the very few street vendors that don't have stands in City Market. The vast majority of all the street vendors in the CBD, the vast majority of them already have stands in City Market. Those should be made to go back to the market. Don't let them lie to you and hoodwink you and deceive you into thinking that they don't have anything and they don't have stands. They do have stands. They do. All right. My picture's gone. I hope it comes back. I hope it comes back. Oh, I guess not. Anyway, there's no picture for now. So guys, oh, there it is. There it is. Thank you. Thank you. All right, so that's what I wanted to share with you. So let me read some of your comments. Let's read this one. You need a stand owner audit in City Market before allocating in SML Market. Very, very love with joy. That is absolutely true. This is a big piece of the puzzle. Don't just start allocating haphazardly. This is very important. Let me read this again. You need a stand owner audit, meaning you need to audit the owners of the stands in City Market. Find out who they are. Because I can guarantee you, I've seen it. Goodness, I've seen it with my own eyes. More than 95% of the street vendors that operate on the street already have stands in City Market, and yet the same ones have applied again for Simon Moore Market. And then when it comes out that those street vendors won't be given space in Simon Moore Market, they'll turn around and say, you see, they've left us out. So since they've left us out, since they have not given us space in Simon Moore Market, we have no choice but to continue trading in the street. And yet, the same people saying that have stands in City Market. I've seen it with my eyes. I know what I'm talking about. Mambwe, if everyone goes back to the markets, customers will also follow them in the markets. It's simple logic. Absolutely. Guys, it is impossible. I keep saying this. It is impossible to have a clean, functioning city with street vendors. It's in the Zambian African context, it is impossible. Why do you think our drainage systems are clogged and full? It's because of the street vendors. Why do you think there's traffic in the CBD? It's because of street vendors. If you manage that, can you imagine the whole filter lane on Lumumba Road is clogged, mate? Clogged with street vendors. That contributes to the traffic jams in the CBD. Clear them out. Take them to the markets where they belong and where we will follow them. Guys, there's nothing crazy about this. But because, and I must tell you, I'm about to say something to you that a politician can never say. Because to a politician, in the politician's mind, this is a death sentence. But thankfully, I'm not a politician. I consider myself a community organizer. We're not politicians. We're not politicians. We are community organizers. I'm going to tell you something that a politician would never say. But I can say it because I'm an organizer, community organizer, and I see this every day. Why? Because I've been there for 33 years in the CBD. I know how our people think. And it's this. Street vendors are the most manipulative people you'll ever find. Boom. It's the truth. They manipulate politicians. Whenever you hear a street vendor say, where am I going to go? How am I going to feed my family? Where am I going to take my kids? That's manipulation. You know why? Because the same street vendor that's saying that, that's trading on the street, is a registered stand owner in City Market. They have a stand that they've paid for. Their name is there. They are the legal owners of the stands in the market. And yet the same person who is standing in front of a ZNBC camera on the street while they trade on the street is the same person saying to you that if you remove me from the street, how am I going to feed my family? How am I going to feed my kids? How will I send my children to school? How will I feed my clan? Knowing full well that the person who's saying that already has a stand in the market. Are you getting that? Are you hearing that? A politician can never tell you that because they're afraid of losing votes. And to be honest with you, that's a red herring. It's a phantom. It's a ghost. It's an apparition. Street vendors are manipulators because they know that if they use the right words, the trigger words are, if you remove me from the street, how will I feed my family? Those are trigger words. But when you look closely, when you examine them very closely, you will discover that the same person saying that has a stand in the market and they've rented it out. They've sublet it to someone else. So they're collecting rent from there and they're trading on the street. Once again, there's nothing wrong with being an entrepreneur, but be an entrepreneur by playing by the rules, by being fair, not by being manipulative. No. That's not right. It's not right. All right. All right, guys. Thank you so much. God bless you. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Have a good day. I hope Vazesko. Namu. You can come, Mr. X. Vazesko, I hope Namu Ashamalait Kusimos on Pantu Tuachula. 3 days. Yeah. All right, guys. God bless. Peace. Bye.